Check. All right, there we go. Okay, I have a handout here that because this session changed, so you can take one and pass it. This is singing a cappella. It's classroom management. The class didn't change, just the teacher, and so I don't know. There might be a handout in there from Brother Manmoran, but this is my handout. Um, so classroom management and discipline. The big idea, the main thing, and I'm not real great at following the outline. So if you need an answer, just if I skip something, let me know. But it's not about control; it's about leadership. So one of the things that I tell my staff all the time, like, and we do. I don't know if it's the moon or what, but sometimes there's just days, right, where it's like these kids. So I have told my staff though, when it's like, man, the kids are just crazy today, or whatever. They seem to be out of line or just extra, and there are days like that, and we can't help it. But for the most part, what I say is, it's our fault. It's our fault. And so and it's not really a blame thing, because if it's our fault, it means we can change it. If it's not, if it is just the moon, then there's nothing we can do about it. So what we're looking for, the next thing on the outline is, our goal is heart transformation, not modification. So, brother, the first one was, it's not about control, it's all about leadership. So, heart transformation, not modification. So, what I mean by that is, if you have a classroom where all the kids are sitting in their chairs with their hands folded, and it's quiet, and you're teaching the lesson, to me, that is not the sign of a great class. Sometimes our class is chaos. It's wild. It's crazy. The point where that becomes a problem and an issue, even so bad that where we've had to remove a child, is when they are ruining the learning experience for other kids. So we have a lot of chaos all the time, but I always say controlled chaos, control with a little c, chaos with a capital C. So controlled chaos, because we do a lot of interactive stuff, and we keep it moving, and it's exciting. But along with that, kids are moving around, and they're enjoying the class. But if you have heart transformation rather than just the behavior modification, you can make a child sit there with their hands folded. You can make a child like, you better not talk. You can make them do something. But if they have a heart transformation, they are still kids, right? But so they're going to still do stuff. But you can probably get Johnny to stop pulling Susie's hair if there's a heart transformation. So that's kind of what that is about. So one of the goals, I talk about this all the time, I talk about engagement. One of the goals is, if you are engaging your kids to a high level, then they're not going to want to misbehave. I mean, I understand that they're kids, but that's where when I say to staff, hey, it's our fault. What could we have done better? So if the kids are just, an example is, I've seen it where I'll have like 3 or 4 actors on stage, full costumes, props, the set, everything, and I'll be in the back and I'll watch the kids and they're getting bored. Well, that's a lot of investment. That's a lot of resources. 4 actors, costumes, the set, props. So we're doing something wrong if we're not engaging the kids with all these actors. At the same time, just this last week, Sunday, we felt like we needed some extra time. We had a guest speaker, and we felt like we were going to need some extra time. So I did basically a revamp or a review. There we go, a review of the past weeks. We were doing a mini series on Moses. So I told everything up to that point, and I just told the story because we were getting ready for part 3 or whatever, and so I told the story. And I had the kids in the palm of my hand. We had music and everything, but it was no actors or anything. But I was watching the kids, and I was looking to make sure that I had their attention. And I went really long. I mean, for that kind of setting, I went like 8 minutes or something like that. And they were not bored at all. And then I finally was like, "You want to see the rest of the story?" Yeah. And so I said, and the actors come in. But the difference is you can be up here and have all this fancy stuff and all the cool gadgets, whatever. But if you're not intentional on engaging the kids, you can get so involved in your dialogue and your lines or what you think is funny or the sword fight you're doing to be really cool and have so much fun that you're not paying attention to if the kids are engaged. And that comes back. I know we're kind of talking about some of the stuff we talked about not being boring, but when kids are bored, that's when they start to misbehave. So I'm just kind of laying the foundation. This is the premise. If you were coming here to figure out how to do timeouts, I'm not real good at that. But this is the premise of my classroom discipline: is let's start before there's the need. And I will get into some practical, but so. This class goes to what? 2:20, right? 2:20. Okay, yeah. All right, so 15 minutes. Okay, so moving on in the handout there. So set the foundation. Love plus leadership. And this is kind of I've talked about this a little bit in the other room, but if you are coming from a place of love with your leadership instead of like an authoritarian. I'll give an example. We have a kid. He's still in Sunday school, and he's a lot better now. But he was just like the terror, and he would come in, and we would have to take him out, and we had to do this consistently. I think it was 3 weeks in a row before and his mom was like hit and miss coming to church, and he had some grandparents in church, and so. But we would have to take him out like 10 minutes in, We'd have to take him out and just like he would misbehave. Well, I finally got a chance to talk to his mom. And it was funny because his mom said that they went to the barber and he couldn't talk very well. He was like, couldn't articulate. And he was saying something to the barber and she was like, "What?" And he said, "I want my hair cut like Brother Baker." So I was like, "Oh." But anyway, I got to talk to her, and he had a medical issue, and I can't remember what the actual term is, but it was like an ADHD type thing, but it was a little worse. Like he couldn't talk. He can talk now, but it's still not clear. Anyway, so and she was saying I was trying to see if he could come to the older class, and we were having to take him out, and so now I had this realization, oh, okay. So we still would have to take him out, but it was different. I mean, we always, try to do it in love, but, be honest, sometimes that kid, you're just like, you better come with me, And so it was more like, okay, so you're done in this class. And he'd be like, no, it's okay. You're not in trouble, but we're going to go to the other class now. And it's smaller, with more hands-on. And so we worked through it. My main thing, and the next thing on the outline there, is avoid legalism versus chaos. My main thing with that story is that sometimes, especially those kids that come on the bus, we don't know where they're coming from. I mean, another time we had some kids come in, they had been coming, and their mom had been coming, and they came to the Sunday school, and they were just already, you could tell in line up outside, they were just terrorizing. It was 2 boys and a girl. I was just like, my goodness. Well, then somebody came up to me before before basically we had really started, and said that they had just come from home, and the dad and mom had gotten in a big huge fight, and the dad had actually been beating her up, and I can't remember, I think police might have got involved, and they came from that to church, right? Like in the last few moments, it changes your perspective, because it can go from, hey, you better line up, to, oh, let me give you a hug, or whatever. I mean, it changes your perspective. So it changes the feeling behind your discipline, and it makes it more effective. Okay, something a little bit practical here is what gets attention gets repeated. It's a lot easier to tell Johnny to stop doing what he's doing from the front, from the mic. I'm like, you better knock it off. But it's way better, and I'm guilty of it. I'll do it all the time. But it's way better to, I don't know why Johnny's so awful and Susie's so nice, but it's way better to say, Susie, you're doing so good at whatever, to praise that good behavior. Because when you do that, then a lot of times those kids that are being bad, they're just wanting attention anyway. And so that's really helpful. Okay. I told you I'm bad at these handouts, so I'm trying to keep up here. Okay, ownership. It's up to me. The most powerful shift in classroom management is taking personal responsibility. So this goes back to what I said about it's up to us. It's up to the staff. We make the difference. So we can't control the kids' behavior, no matter how hard we try. We can't control the kids' environment, where they came from. We can't control their behavior, but we can control what we do. So I control my preparation, delivery, and leadership. I control my preparation, delivery, and leadership. So when I talk about preparation, a lot of the times what I try to do is I try to think through practically, like, what does this look like when we're going to do this skit, and then we're going to transition to this, and here's a couple staff that are back to back. How are we going to do that? And so I'll try to think through it. And what we do a lot of times in ours, when we do segments, and I don't know who was in what classes, but segment, when I talk about segments, I'm meaning like offering or Bible story or altar call or whatever. So when we do segments, oftentimes what I'll try to do is have, if we're doing segment A right now and you're up for segment B, is there's either maybe a keyword or we use timers, but basically I want you to like almost interrupt me. And I want that to happen pretty much every time. The exception, we don't do it with prayer requests. We don't interrupt prayer requests. And then obviously altar call, we don't interrupt that. But pretty much everything else, we want it to be, it's not really interrupted because we have planned it. And I know I have, if you're using time, then I know I have 2 minutes to get it done, and you're coming in at 2 minutes regardless. Or we might plan it, and I said, when I say, something about Bobby, you're coming in, or whatever. So it looks like an interruption, but it keeps the attention of the kids. And so they basically, in all of this, what I'm talking about is they don't have time to, misbehave. I heard Brother Baglin, the great guru of Sunday school, mention something along these lines, and he was talking about keeping it so interesting and so engaging that when kids are trying to talk to them, they're like, don't bother me. I don't want to miss the next thing he's going to do. And that's what I want. I want, we do about an hour. I want that full hour just to be every minute, and minute is actually too long, every second just to be maximized. We don't always do it. We fail probably every week in some area, but we try. We're trying to do that. That's what we're trying to do. Because if we can do that, then then it will keep them engaged. So preparation, it eliminates those gaps, I guess. Um, when it's not working, one of the things I ask is, what could we do different? What could I do differently? What could I do differently that would make it better? And then on the last one there, on that take ownership, is I can improve. And so when you think of it that way, when you're thinking of what can I do differently, what can I do to improve, a couple things is, one, we just did this recently, is this is a practical thing, is some seating arrangements. Not everybody, but there was some boys that just, when they sat together, it was just bad. So we didn't do it as a punishment thing, we just kind of arranged it. That's another thing. I don't think this is on my handout, but if you can teach in times of non-conflict, that has the greatest impact. Because often these kids that are misbehaving, especially though that kid, right, Johnny. So when they are misbehaving, that kid is often used to getting yelled at, used to getting scolded, used to getting put in timeout, used to getting spankings, whatever. That's just normal everyday stuff for them. And so it's just the cacophony in their ears when you say it. It's just like another, But if you can teach in times of non-conflict, meaning that I'm not saying you can't ignore it, but you're not scolding Johnny right now, but you take him aside after class and say, hey, it would be really cool if you could help me, whatever, on next Sunday, if you could help me, or I use this in altar service a lot. I'll be like, I need those of you that know how to pray to help me pray right now. And so there's some of those church kids that are sitting there talking to their neighbor, and they hear that, and they're, oh yeah, okay, I'm supposed to help him pray. And so little things like that in times of non-conflict is a lot more effective. Okay, I covered some of this, but prep like a pro. So think through each segment is what that blank is. So think through each segment, and what do we got? 5 minutes. Okay, so and then spot boredom. If you can spot boredom, I'm again when I was talking about last week when I told that story. I am constantly gauging the kids. And I do something I call hand grenades, but if they're starting to get, restless or bored or whatever, and I need to fill more time, I'll do something, exciting, or I'll grab a kid up at the front and talk about my example still or whatever. Another kind of trick is walking on stage with a prop, and you're holding the prop, and you can milk it as long as you can. You might get a minute out of it or something, but because kids they want to know, what are you about to do with that prop? And you might not be doing anything. You should have some kind of payoff, but it grabs their attention. It's kind of like Brother Bradshaw with his sock tucked into his leg in the other session. It's the same idea, but I've walked out before with a box, and I can milk that a little bit. I can keep those kids' attention for a little while because I got that box, and they're like, well, what's in the box? So, but you need to have a payoff, or else, they might get disappointed. Okay, problems happen in gaps, not structure. So problems happen in gaps, not structure. What I mean by that is like transitions between those segments. Or when another thing is like when you don't know what you're doing, when you're not super clear on what's next. The kids, it's like they can pick up on it so quick, and they're going to take advantage of it. So the problems that we have in classrooms happen in the gaps, not in the structure of when things are happening. Control the flow. So the rule is 1 minute per year of age, but I like to say to err on the side of shorter, and I think it's getting shorter and shorter in this day and age. I sound like an old grandpa, but 1 minute per year of age. Our average segment is 2 to 3 minutes. So, and we're teaching older than 2 to 3 years old. Obviously, we're doing 5 through 11, but our average segment, and then we kind of have some exceptions to that. But I do think the shorter you can do it, the better. Like keep it, you can keep it moving so that it's going to different segments and keeping the interest. And then I want to get to questions, and so we got 2 minutes. Let me keep on going here. Shorter is better. That's the next outline. Then, not the segment, it's the delivery. So it's not about the segment so much. You can have two different people. Brother Ashley, I think, talked about this. You can have two different people teach a lesson, and it can come across totally different. You can have two people, different people take up offering, and it can come across different. So it's about the delivery. When you are very intentional and you want it to be good, I want, no matter what segment I'm doing, I want it to be good. Win the room. So what's next? So think ahead and anticipate what's next. A lot of times in our Sunday school, I'm often doing the opening welcome. So we have what's called a dynamic opening. Kids comes in, there's like a scene happening already, and then I'll do that. That scene will end. They'll exit, and I'll come out and do opening welcome, just as Brother Baker, just as staff, and we'll go through some rules and stuff. It's about 2 minutes, but I'm in my mind, I'm like, okay, offering is next. So I'm thinking, how can I cue that up? Or maybe we have a plan on how I can cue that up, and I'll say, like, watch out, there's some bandits coming, and then they do come and do their skit or whatever. So it kind of cues it up. So thinking ahead, what's next? So the more engagement you have, the less distractions you have. And then engaged kids don't want to misbehave. Bringing it all together, lead with love, preparation, intentionality, and then behavior follows. Okay, really fast. One thing on I hope that this helped. I hope that people weren't coming to this classroom management looking for things about timeouts and things like that. So I'm hoping that this helped. But a couple of things: when you do have to discipline a kid, remember that it's in love. We can get so frustrated. And then remember context. Remember the context of what's happening. A lot of times you hear, most of the time in fact, you hear one side of the story when a kid comes and tells you. So just take it with the grain of salt. And then, you probably should have some kind of processes if you have to have a kid taken out. Okay, we are at our time, but any questions really quick? Yes?
How do you know when to have the kids quiet and then when it's okay for them to talk?
Yeah, this is good. Yeah, so the question is, how do you know when to have the kids be quiet and when it's okay for them to talk? So we basically, we discourage, I mean, they do it anyway, but we would like for them to not be talking amongst themselves basically ever. And then, but then when we're looking for a response, I know I'm over time. When we're looking for a response, then that's when it's like, it's okay. But like we have 4 rules, and rule number 2 is we always say it's the hardest one: listen, watch, and don't talk. And so I tell them, like I want you to listen to me with, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, don't talk, and I want to see your eyeballs. So I want you to pay attention to what's up here. So that's kind of our general rule. Anything else, really quick? Last chance.
Can you go into the last part of the handout?
Lead with love, preparation, and intentionality, and then behavior follows. Okay, thank you guys.
Visuals in the classroom. We're going to talk a little bit about why to use visuals at all, but mainly we're just going to go through a bunch of them and hopefully have time for questions, but knowing me and Brother Chris, we probably won't have time. So feel free to just shout them out as they occur to you. But first of all, what is an object lesson? What is an object lesson? It is a visual, anything that you can wrap around a lesson. To me, it's a hook that you can hang a lesson on that a kid can later retrieve the lesson based on the object that you used. And there's all kinds of things we can use, from very, very simple, such as thread. And thread can be used for a lot of these, but we use this one to talk about something simple like a sin, like a little lie that a child can tell. And it feels so innocent at first. Can you help me real quick? We're going to knock this out fast. We don't have time to go through this in the detail I would like to. But if you don't mind facing, just putting your hands together. And when you tell a lie, a simple little lie, when you wrap it around, you feel like it's not a big deal. So go ahead and try to open up your hands real quick. Was that pretty easy? No big deal. And you got away with it. And so you think that it's not that big a deal. But if you keep lying and you keep doing it. Now, I don't have the time to do this justice, but I could wrap this and wrap this and wrap this until he is completely trapped and there's no way he could ever get out unless we use the scissors of repentance and let him out. So just something simple as a piece of thread, a piece of paper, a rat trap, those things can help you teach an object lesson that is going to create a memory for the kids to hang a lesson on. So do you have something ready?
He's talking about simple. Anybody in here have $1? She's been looking for this. You have $1 in your wallet? Pull it out real quick. I'm going to teach you how to teach an object lesson with something that you carry every single day. I'm going to go through it really fast because we have a bunch of these. But how much is this worth?
$1.
How do you know it's worth $1? How do you know it's worth $1? It tells it. Do you have a copier that I can borrow real fast so I can copy a bunch of these because it says it's worth $1 and I can go copy this and it's worth $1, right? No, it's worth $1 because someone else a lot higher than us and a long time ago determined it's worth $1, right? And the U.S. government backs it. It paid the price for this, so it's worth $1. So my question is, how much is it worth now? But it's been crushed. Why hasn't it lost value? Because you don't set value to it. I can throw it on the floor. I can walk on it. How much is it worth? Because you don't set value to it. How about now? How much is it worth? It's worth $1. Yeah, this is worth a half and this is worth a half. You're not wrong. So it's worth $1. But why is it still worth $1? Because you don't set value to it. Someone a lot higher than you and a long time ago determined that this is worth $1. So my question is today, how much are you worth? When you've been crushed, when you've been torn, when people said bad things about you. So you don't have to spend a whole lot of money. I literally spent $1 and I didn't even spend it. I'm going to go tape it. I'm going to go take it somewhere. I'm going to spend it. I get to keep it. I've taught this object lesson in a bank, and I had the bank teller bawling her eyes out, ready to come to church. So it's something simple, and it doesn't really cost you anything. I didn't set anything on fire. I ripped $1 in half. So that's another way of doing something simple that doesn't cost a lot.
Absolutely. And make sure when you teach an object lesson that the lesson makes it home more than the visual does. We did a lesson years ago, and I thought it went well, and a kid went home and told his parents all about it. In fact, he repeated the entire lesson at home. It was one with the tea bag. You remember you like the tea bag and it goes up in the air? It's a good one. Well, the kid went home and did it for his parents, and they said, "That's so cool. What did you learn from it?" He said, "I didn't learn anything from it, but isn't that neat?" And I went from being very excited to being very depressed because I had completely failed as a teacher, and the only thing that made it home was the visual. So you got to make sure that the lesson is more impactful than the visual. And so like this one here is not as simple. It's just a bag. I actually found this on eBay. You know, buy a bag on eBay. What do I got inside here, buddy? Thank you. But out of nothing, did you know that God can make something? In the beginning, God created everything, but he didn't have much to start with. He started with a blank slate, and out of nothing, he made everything. And so if you just give him a place to start, God can reach inside and begin to make something beautiful out of what you said was what was in here. You said nothing, but God said, I can see something in you. I can see potential in you. And what you can do as well is fill the bag with really good things and take it out and throw it and say, that's like other people, but then there's me. God doesn't have anything that he can use in me. But he did something beautiful. I wonder if he could do it twice, though. Do you think God could do it twice? Let him reach inside. Just give him a place to work like he did when he started creating the earth. He didn't have much to begin with, but you just give him a place. and he can make something beautiful. This is what's called the Dream Bag on eBay. I got this. You can get it on Amazon. This is the jumbo size, and I'll show you the trick. Don't tell nobody. These boxes are actually this. They're really flat. One side's brown, the bottom, like the size of the bottom, and what I'm doing in the bag is I'm flipping it up. I'm grabbing this little tab, and then I'm grabbing this and picking it up. Okay? Now, I've combined these. Most of these come with 3 bags, and so I have, I think, 9 of these in here. Got 3 of them and stuffed them all together. And so you can just keep pulling them out and out. It's really a cool object lesson. Dream Bag, make sure you get the jumbo size. Most of the ones they sell you are dinky little tiny ones, and they'll fall apart after a couple uses. So eBay is where I got these, but I can't send you a link because it changes all the time. They come from China, and who knows where the next link is going to go. So this one's awesome, though. It's one of my favorites.
Another fun one to do is to go to your local hardware store and buy you just a rope. You don't even have to go to the hardware store. Go to Walmart and buy you a clothesline. And what you do is you cut 3 different size ropes. And I like to use this illustration a lot. Brother Booker said, hey, I grabbed it for you because I know you use this one. But for us is, you and I are always comparing ourselves against someone else. This is how I feel the majority of the time. I bet you, and being real with you, I bet you a lot of you in the room can say the same thing. A lot of times I feel like I come up so short. And I start comparing myself. Social media is of the devil. We're comparing ourselves to someone's best day, and we're comparing it against our worst day. And so, but we begin to compare ourselves to this is how I feel, and this is how the people around me look to me. They look they have their life together. They're driving the fancy cars. They have the nice houses. And I just feel like I come up so short. But I realize that if I can bring myself and put myself in the hand of God, I realize He can take my shortcomings. He can take my failures. He can take my faults. And I done dropped this. But He can take my failures, my shortcomings, my faults. And as long as I keep myself in His hand, in our reality, we're all the same. And I mean, I got to straighten it up some. I just did it real quick, fast, and dirty. But if you take your time, you do it right, all of them come out the exact same size. But it's a $5 rope that you can buy and throw some painter's tape on there, and literally all you're doing is you're taking the short end and you're taking the long piece and you're making a U out of your short end, and then by the time you get done picking it up, all 3 are the same size.
Yeah, it's called the Professor's Nightmare or something like that.
Professor's Nightmare.
And you can look it up on YouTube.
Costs you a couple bucks.
Yeah,
but the visual behind it and the lesson that you connect with it, and while you're talking, you're doing it. And you have to be able to also, like just then, I messed it up. There will be times when you've done an object lesson 100 times, and you do it, and you mess it up. You have to be quick on your feet and how to talk through it. I've had some spectacular fails. I don't know about you.
If you do enough object lessons, you will have a trail of tears, your own tears, because they do not always work.
Yep.
And you just have to be able to recover. That's just part of it. You just have to be able to pick up the pieces and move on. And if you don't make a big deal about it, they don't. They don't even know you messed up until you tell them sometimes. Although sometimes they know, and they can figure it out. So where do you get your object lessons from? We have tried to compile a bunch of these on apostolicsundaySchool.com, but we're asking, don't rely on these. Come up with your own. And the way we came up with a big chunk of them is we went to science websites. Steve Spangler has a bunch of really great science experiments. There's no spiritual application, but we went on there, and if it caught our attention, we replicated it and then thought, what can we do with this? And usually our first try at making something out of a science experiment didn't turn out perfectly, and usually we tweaked it 2 or 3 times until finally we're like, that's it. That's what that thing is meant to teach. Steve has taught a lot of our classes, and he doesn't even know it. So, magic tricks are awesome. I love magic tricks. Or I went on Amazon and I found this. This is called the Spill Knot. And I had no idea what it was for, or if it was real, or if it was just a gimmick. But I bought it, didn't know what we'd do with it. But I had a lesson I taught with it, and it was good, I thought. And then we had a seminar like this, and what we challenged everybody to do is we handed out object lessons and said, you come up with something different. You're not allowed to teach what we just taught with it. And I'm about to teach you what they came up with, and it's way better than what I ever did. So this is meant to keep things from spilling. And what you do is you set it on there, and you just spin it around, and it never falls off no matter how hard you spin it. But it's really cool. So watch this. It never, ever comes. I feel like I'm missing something, brother. I know, it's empty. You got to fill it with something. You can't expect to be stable if you're empty. That's what we need. So if we just fill it up like we need to be full of the Holy Ghost, you got to have that to be stable. You put that on the spill knot, and all of a sudden the instability is gone, and now all of a sudden I can spin around and life can mess with me all I want, and it stays stable even though it's not glued down. It's still in there. Is the water still in there? Doesn't make the water, it's really in there. It's not like gelled up, which is another cool lesson we're about to do. But this is called the spill knot, and that's how they came up to teach it. Before, we used to teach about how you worry about life and the things, and you walk around so worried about the cares of this life, but then you put them in the hands of God, and when God has them, they're just all taken care of. You don't even have to think about it. But this is a really cool device, cost $10 on Amazon. Had no clue what we were going to do with it, so I bought it and played with it. And so I'm challenging you, do that. Just find cool, quirky, fun stuff.
So another one that's free if you don't mind borrowing from your local coffee shop. Anybody know what this is? It's a cup cozy, yeah, for hot coffee, right? So I actually taught this. This is hilarious, in the airport in Denver 2 days ago to a young lady who was talking to her grandmother, and I overheard a conversation, and she was complaining about seeing some of her friends on social media and how perfect their life was, and she was comparing herself, just like we did with the rope. Watch this right here. My question to you is, which one of these is larger? The bottom one. It's larger, right? And so now I'm going to take the bottom one. Now watch, I'm not doing any trickery here. I'm going to take the bottom one, which is this one, right? I'm going to put it on the top. My question to you is which one's longer? But you just said that, and I just put it on the top. What is going on? That doesn't make sense, and it doesn't matter. And matter of fact, if you think I'm tricking you here, you do it yourself. And guess what? The bottom one will always be larger. Why? Because you're comparing your shortness, your shortcomings against someone's perfect life. But when we all boil it down, in all reality, we're all just the same, going through the same struggles. And we have to be careful measuring our incompleteness and our shortcomings against, and our weaknesses against someone else's strength, because when we do that, we will always come up short. But on the other flip side of that is we shouldn't measure our best days against someone else's worst days and think that we're better than them, because in all reality, we're going through the exact same things. Free. Go to your local coffee shop. Grab 2 of them. Keep them with you. These are free. I'm telling you, they give them out. And you can teach an object lesson with it. So I don't want you to think of, I have to go on Amazon. I have to spend hundreds of dollars to buy all these fancy things. They're cool. He has some of them with him today. They're awesome. I can't wait to buy some myself. But start small. Start simple. A couple coffee cozies.
Can you help me hold a couple of these?
Oh,
Would you mind helping hold one of these 2, brother? Here, I'll let you just hold these 3. Actually, give him 2 and you hold 2. Okay, if you just face them. So this is us. These balloons are us. And the devil, he didn't like us living for God. And so he's going to come against us, and he's going to pull out the stops. Now, I want to make it clear that everything we teach today is being taught super abridged. We're shoving this down in about 10 seconds. But the devil don't play fair, and sometimes he pulls out the fiery darts of the devil. And it's not very nice of him, but he plays very dirty. And he comes against us. And he's not nice. But if your heart is clean, your heart is pure, I wonder if he's going to have the same capability. You might not want to look directly at the balloon. All right. It's the same laser, the same intensity, but this time it can't affect it because it has a clean heart. But what about Brother Bradshaw? Oh, this is bad. Because the devil, he's dumb, but he ain't stupid. You know, he's not going to attack someone that's living for God at their strong spot. What he's going to do is chase our weakness. And so maybe you have a problem with something. Maybe it's a problem with your phone. Maybe it's a problem with whatever. That's where he's going to attack you, not where you're strong, but where you're weak. And so he's going to attack you at your most vulnerable spot. And he's going to try to take away your living for God. So this is a laser. This is a 30,000 milliamp something or other. I can tell you where to get it, but it's not cheap. It's about $100. But this will pop a balloon from a pretty good distance. Just you have to be really stable if you're too far, because it does get weaker over space. But it's neat because the dark balloons pop. The light colored balloons do not until you mark them up with a little black dot, and then it pops. So it's really cool. These are awesome. Don't travel on TSA, but through TSA with it. They don't think you're funny.
Ask him how he knows.
Yeah.
Same thing with his flaming Bible. Ask him how he knows that one too.
Oh, buddy.
Anybody?
I'm on a bunch of watch lists. I know it.
Anybody ever seen one of these before? You know you can make one of these yourself without having to go buy one of these? Go to Taco Bell and get one of their sauce packets.
McDonald's,
get a ketchup packet, and it'll fit inside the bottle. And what's so cool about these is you can teach obedience with this. Matter of fact, if you go to apostolicsundaySchool.com, this is one of the, I'm going to throw a plug in for my friend since he won't do it. This is one of the lessons that are on there. Now, he looks a little different. He's a little younger than what he is right now, so because it's been on there for a while. But the premise is the same, that I have a friend. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have a friend, and my friend's name is Bob. Everybody say hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Bob's pretty cool. Bob is extremely obedient, and he does what I tell him to do. You want me to prove it? All right, you ready? All right, Bob. All right. I need you to float on top of the water. Look, he's already doing it. Ain't that so awesome? Yes, he's. I know it's not really cool, is it? But I bet you that if I tell Bob I want him to go to the bottom of this bottle, he'll do it. You think so? Let's see. Hey, Bob, I need you to go down to the bottom of this bottle and just chill. Bob, I need you to come up about halfway. Can you come up about halfway for me? Just hang out. And you know what? Just come right back up to the top. Boom. It works every time. Now, if you're going to use a ketchup packet, I recommend practicing. And I recommend practicing every single object lesson that you use, because if you just get up in front of these kids without ever having used it before, this can mess up. Even with Bob, I have too much water in there. I don't have enough room to squeeze the bottle. There are so many things that can go wrong. So if you're going to do object lessons, prepare yourself. Don't just show up Sunday morning and what? Did he? Yeah, see? Exactly. Don't just show up Sunday morning and expect it to work, because I seen Brother Philip Booker do it on apostolicsundaySchool.com, and if it worked for him, it's going to work for me.
Yeah, if you're doing a ketchup packet, you expect to go through about 50 of them to find the right one.
To find one, yeah.
It has to be perfectly balanced.
Yep.
Where you can squeeze it and it shrinks. Some of them you're like, squeezing so tight, you're shaking.
Ask him how he knows.
Yeah.
So,
and this is called a Cartesian diver. Buy those on Amazon.
Yes, for like $4.
And if you let it sit too long, which we did, he just stays at the bottom. So you got to do it while it's fresh.
Yes. I will say, going back to...
Did you need this? I'm sorry.
No, we're good. Going back to practicing your stuff is where I was getting at. Practicing your stuff. We had a spectacular fail. I seen this amazing thing. You use bleach and iodine. You soak, and we could have done that one too. But you literally take iodine, you pour it on a hanky, and it stains the hanky. And then everything the hanky touches stains. But if you take bleach and cut it 50-50 with water, you put iodine and bleach, guess what? Your hanky comes out white again. And then you can pour your iodine directly into it, and the water will remain clear because of the chemical reaction that happens between the two. And I thought I'd be cool, and I'm going to stain the hanky with some Kool-Aid and use some bleach to get the Kool-Aid off, and it failed spectacularly in front of 200 kids. And so that's where you have to be really quick on your feet and learn how to ad-lib and that kind of stuff. But always, please practice your object lessons before you get up in front of 180 kids and make yourself look like a fool, because it happens, and kids are ruthless. They will not let you forget.
Very good. Now I'm going to try one I've never tried before. So I'm going to try to read somebody's mind real quick. How about this young lady right here? Think of a word. Think of one word, okay? Can't get the lid off. Okay. Okay. Do you know what word I've written down? What? No? You are good. This girl is on fire. Brother, you are amazing. Read your mind. So that's something really dumb I saw somewhere. I'm like, that is so funny. And it worked. Hey, there we go. But I got these here, and I wondered what to do with them. This is another Amazon find. I couldn't figure out what to do with it, but we found it. These will take sour things and make them savory. It's a pill. It's a little tiny pill. It's not drugs. It's a little natural pill. It's a fruit, and you try it. It's almost tasteless. But if you can eat a raw lemon just the whole thing after you've eaten one of these. I know because I hate lemons, and I ate it with one of these, and it's unbelievable. Yeah, and it tastes really good. Like it tastes yummy. So these are called M-berry. Had no idea what to do with them. I'm like, but I'm going to use this. I was thinking about it, like how sweet are thy words unto my taste, O Lord. You know, but some people, man, they try the word of God, and it's just not something I'm ready for. But man, when you get the right stuff, when you take the right thing, it makes the words of God so sweet. When you get in the right attitude, the right frame of mind. But these were so cool. And they really work. They're called the letter M, berry, and you can eat anything sour, even hot. I think this one's hot. Can you take hot sauce? I can't remember. You can. I think it can be like crazy flaming hot, and it doesn't. Don't blame me for that one, because I don't remember trying that. But I think that's what they said.
Ask Sister Google first.
Yeah, Sister Chat GPT. But that's a really cool one. Again, I didn't know what to do with it, but it worked out well. All right. We got 5 minutes left. All right, we'll blow through a bunch of these then.
So another one of my favorites. Can I use this? You had it.
Yeah.
So one of my favorites to make at home it's called a mouth coil, and I actually went to Dollar Tree and I bought a bunch of paper, and I know it's funny. You can buy them; they're super cheap, but I was broke and I wanted to make my own, so I went to Dollar Tree and I made a ton of them, and I wanted a custom size. But I took their paper that they have, and it's like the paper you put on top of gifts. And then you just tape it end to end, and I rolled them around a dowel rod, and then I made my own. But the premise behind this, and you can take any object lesson and make it yours. You don't have to teach it the same way that I teach it, but one of the ones that I like to teach with this is out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water, right? Or the words that we say, we can't really take them back once they come in, but a mouth coil is just that. You put it in your mouth, and you can just start pulling. But you can teach it any way that you want to teach it. Out of your belly shall flow rivers of water. The words that we speak, we can't take back. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can teach lessons. Just take them and make them yours.
Yep. Here's another really cool one I saw and didn't know how to use it initially, and so we've come up with a few different things. But I want to do something cool. How about we do a magic trick? Okay, let's go ahead and just do a magic trick. Okay, all right, perfect. Let's see. Under here, I have something really cool. I have the peanut butter, which is all about me. I'm gross. I'm just like, it's all about me. And over here, we have sweet Jesus. Oh, yes, we do. We have sweet Jesus. And I want to be like him. I want to be just like Jesus. And so I don't know how to do it because I'm just peanut butter. I want to be like Jesus. And did you know that the Bible says that he took my place? Did you know that? He took my place. He traded places with me. I'm the one that deserved death, but he said, you know what? I'm going to trade places with you, and I'm going to take the spot that you used to be in, and I'm going to put you in my place. And that's exactly what he did. He traded places with me. But that's not enough. He doesn't want me to stay in this state. He didn't want me to stay gross. So you know what? He did something even better. He didn't just trade places with me. He made me like him. And he said, I want you to be just like me. And that's exactly what he did. Because God's good. This is a really cool lesson. I had to buy it on eBay. It cost me a little bit. But this one is awesome. And it seems so simple. It's like, duh, I knew that. I didn't. And I was trying to figure it out for a long time. Finally, I had to spend money on it because I couldn't figure it out. And so it's a really cool lesson. It's called the Peanut Butter Jelly Magic Trick. You got more?
Go ahead.
How are we doing on time?
We have 4 minutes.
Okay, 4 minutes. Okay. How about this one? The little boy, he had loaves and fishes. He gave them to Jesus. He said, I'll give you the little bit I had. And God said, listen, I'm going to turn them into something big. And so he made a big lunch out of them. And so you can fill these all with plushies. And this is called a dove pan, a chick pan. You can buy these on eBay or Amazon. And the reason I keep saying eBay is Amazon has really cheesy versions of everything.
Yes.
Like they're not very good.
Yes.
This one might have a better version of it, but it has a lid that you can hide stuff in, and it's only revealed when you stick it on here, and it'll show what's inside. So these are awesome. Dove pan or a chick pan. And these are actually the ones that they make live doves pop out of, so that's why they're called that.
You can run to Hobby Lobby. Anybody see these beads that are offered?
I hope those are good, brother. They've been shaken and jostled, so I hope they're good.
We'll find out. But you can buy these beads at Hobby Lobby. You can buy them at gas stations around Mardi Gras time. But there are so many different ways you can teach this lesson. One of my favorite ways to teach it is I think that I'll be okay to sin just a little bit, and nobody will ever know. Nobody will ever find out. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and just do that one sin that nobody. Oh, wait! Oh my word! I thought nobody would know about it. It was just one little bitty sin.
Chris.
And now I'm empty. I had all that Holy Ghost, and all I did was just that one little bitty sin, and now I have nothing left. And I thought nobody would know. You know, there's just so many ways that you can teach it, and that's another good one. And if you use a huge container, I have a container that's this tall at the church, and I have like almost 400 foot of that, and it'll empty the whole thing. Just know what comes out must go back in. So,
but you can't put them in a wad. You have to string them in. It takes forever. It's annoying. So this is another one I saw online. Didn't know how to use it, but everything's connected. The yellow's connected to the green is connected to the purple's connected to the red, and then even diagonal. The red is connected to the green, and the yellow is connected to the purple. Everything is connected to each other. Isn't that cool? And so who thinks they got it figured out? Who thinks they know how this works? Anybody? I mean, it's pretty clear that there's what? There's ropes inside probably connecting the two. Clearly. Anybody else have any ideas how it might work? Anybody? Could be something like that. But usually when we think we have it all figured out, it's funny how God likes to show us that just when you think you got God all figured out, he shows it that there's really nothing going on. And he's a big God. He likes to blow our minds every now and then. I don't know. So this one I saw, and I could not figure out how it happened. But you were right. Magnets. There's magnets here and magnets on this end. They connect, and then you can start pulling the strings. Super cool, called pom-pom magic trick. This one hurt my brain so bad I had to spend a lot of money on it. I was so mad, but that's the only way I could do it. I think we're almost out of time, so I got one more. I got a flashlight. I want to turn this on. I want to be the light of the world, right? God said be the light of the world, and so, well, that didn't work. And so kids are going to say, well, you need batteries. Oh, right, I got to get batteries. And so I'm going to get the batteries in. But I'm full of stuff. We got to get the junk out first. So we got to get the love for money out of there. And we got to get the trash, and we got to get all the different things. And so now we're good to go, right? Uh-oh, we got a tangle. Now we're all good to go. I don't know if this is going to work now because I just messed it up. But let's put it back together, and I think we're good to go. All right, we're the light of the world. So we're missing something. And then we talk about how Acts chapter 1, verse 8, ye shall receive power after you get the Holy Ghost. You got to have the Holy Ghost. You can't. And then you can even do funny stuff, put the batteries in backwards, put them upside down, put in the wrong type of batteries. And you got to have the right kind of power. You can't just put any old power in. And then you put in the right batteries, you turn it on, you finally have light. And you show that you can only be the light of the world if you do it God's way. And I have different kinds of flashlights. We're all different shapes and sizes, but God wants to use us all no matter what color we are, what shape we are. God still loves us. We're 1 minute over, but there's all kinds of other fun stuff. Thank you guys for coming. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them as we can. All right. Oh, and this one is just a magic wand, expandable. You can buy this on Amazon for $10.
You gotta be careful; it'll cut you.
It will slice you up. Yeah. Yeah, that's how it starts. You keep it in your pocket. When you're ready, pull it out, and spring-loaded, and pretty cool.
This one, you blow a balloon up, you put them in between them, and you push down the top of it, and it won't pop the balloon even though it's full of nails.
Yeah. Oh, man, we got so many more. Anyway, we're out of time. We're out of time. You are welcome. This doesn't count. This one's not on the timer. I got 3 with water. I'm going to pour it in.
Oh, yeah, this one's fun.
Okay. Now I'm going to mix them up and see if you guys can figure out where it's at. Does anybody know where it's at? Were you able to follow it? Yeah. Okay, which one's it in?
That one.
This one? Okay, I better hide it again. Okay, you guys are too good. All right. How about now?
One to the right.
This one? Are you sure? No, it's not there. Okay. Which other one? Where else might it be? Which one of the? Anyway, little by little, we can show that there actually none of them have it because it disappeared. But we talk about deception. The devil lies to us, tell you happiness is found in all the wrong places, where really it's not found in any of the junk that he says. It's all still there. It's just in a gel now. This is the diaper polymer. You can buy this online. Super cool. And it's called...
Super absorbent polymer.
Yep. I just call it S8. Yeah, super absorbent diaper polymer. You can buy it for like $20 for this size. It's the coolest stuff ever. There's a bunch of lessons you can teach with that.
I recommend buying that one. Do not tear your wife's diapers up to get the stuff out of the diapers. Ask me how I know.
I'm assuming. I was about to say, you need to clarify whose diapers you're taking from your wife.
I was gonna say.
The diapers my wife had purchased for our baby.
There you go.
What was it called again? What was the name?
Super absorbent polymer.
Super absorbent.
Steve Spangler sells it. You can buy it at Hobby Lobby. There's a bunch.
Amazon, $20 for the whole jar.
There you go. Amazon, $20.
Oh.
Yes.
Go. Okay.
Do you have another session?
Yes, sir. I just remembered. Sorry. I have 2 minutes.
You better run fast. Oh, no, you're right. We're 2 hours behind here. You know what? Don't judge me. Hello, sister. All right. It is 3:01. We're 1 minute behind starting. If you are sitting in this room, it's because you want to listen about decorating on a budget. And my wife is the one that should be doing this because my wife is the one that makes me decorate on a budget. But, yeah, I got to laugh because the husbands in the room know what I'm talking about. Uh-huh. Oh, don't get offended now, sis. If you have your handout up there at the top, I put 1 Corinthians 4:2. Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. A lot of people, when they see decorations, and they automatically think that, wow, how much money did you spend on that? That's the very first question that usually, wow, my word. But when you are crafty, like my wife is, and like she is forcing me to be, you actually understand that a lot of this stuff isn't as expensive as what you think it is. And I can say that because we just got done doing VBS at our church, and literally our entire VBS was reused, recycled, or repurposed. The entire thing. And we did it to ourselves kind of on purpose because we have been challenging ourselves. And Sister Bradshaw did this a couple months ago to decorate as big and as wow as we can with the least amount of money. just to see if it's possible. And so we started doing that. And the big idea behind this whole premise is God isn't looking for someone with the biggest budget. I wish I had the budget of Sight and Sound. Anybody ever been to Sight and Sound? Oh my word, can you imagine putting Sunday school on at that scale? Please, that's the dream. That's what everybody wants, right? But unfortunately, we all have the Dollar Tree budget. And so he isn't looking for the biggest budget, but he is looking for faithful stewards. Creativity, resourcefulness, and preparation can often accomplish way more than a big budget because you are making it to the specifications that you want, and you don't have to go hunting for something at those specifications. You just custom make it yourself. And so what I want to challenge each one of us here today to do is to think like a steward. Before buying something brand new, before sourcing something from somewhere else, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Can I borrow it? Can I build it? If I do buy it, can I reuse it again? Can I repurpose something that I already have available? And will I ever use it again? I may reuse it once, but will I use it more than once? And so a reminder I would throw in here is that decorations should support the lesson, not become the entire lesson, right? So we just did our most successful theme when it comes to VBS, and Sister Bradshaw wrote it in like a week because we were on crunch time. But we did one up, God gives us life. And the entire premise behind it is we were talking one day, and she's like, how cool would it be if we could make a giant like gaming system on the platform? And so I have a crazy imagination. I said, you know what would be really cool is if we could get a projector and we could rear project onto a sheet and actually make a game playable on this giant gaming system that we're going to build on the platform. So we had someone in the church that heard me talking about it, and they donated an extra projector that they had at work. And they just gave it to us. Free, right? Then we were going through some of our stuff, and Sister Bradshaw and I cleaning the church up, and we found a bunch of foam panels that were left over from Youth Blast in January of this year that were still sitting there. And so we got a hold of the people who had made it and was like, hey, can we reuse this for VBS? Do you mind? No, we don't mind. So now I have all the foam that I need for free. And so we started looking, and we have some 2x4 frames that we use for play that we do every year around Christmas time. And so we use that as the frame, the actual structural frame. And I got to thinking, I'm going to have to go buy some 2x4s. I'm going to have to cut them to size and screw everything together. And so I went upstairs and I was looking to see maybe we had some extra 2x4s laying around. But you know what I did find? I didn't find 2x, but you know what I did find? I found a couple pickleball nets. And I was like, you know what? I can turn that into the frame. And so they're the kind that have the spring-loaded hole where the piece sticks up into the hole and you can push it and they come apart. So I took those from upstairs. They're not being used right now. And I turned those into my frame that I zip-tied, and I zip-tied my foam to, right? And then we got a hot knife and we cut it to the shape that we wanted. And then we went to Dollar Tree and we bought some Dollar Tree tablecloths and we covered the foam. And then we went and we found some of that floral foam, the round ones, you know what I'm talking about? And we cut that. That became our buttons. And then we found some foam paper, like that really thin foam paper, and we cut it, and it turned into the pieces that we glued onto the buttons. And we found some dowel rods, and we cut them to size. And then we found some bucket lids, and those turned into our thumbsticks. And then we found a sheet that was hanging, and we used the sheet, and we stretched the sheet taut over this frame that we had made. And we rear projected onto this sheet, and it turned out to be a giant Nintendo 2, the Switch, that you could. I was playing like YouTube on there. I was playing the Mario walkthrough, the game, the old Mario on Nintendo 64. The OG one, the real one. Yeah, exactly. If you know, you know. Yeah, if you were born after 2015, you probably have no clue. I'm at 89, baby. I'll give my age away. But it was huge. It was 8 foot tall. I think it was 12 foot wide. This thing was giant. And so we had some logistics that we had to work through. It wasn't a short throw projector, so I had to get like 16 feet back, and I ended up having to like duct tape it to a giant 16-foot ladder, and it had to be at a 90-degree angle. You know, there were some logistics that had to come behind it, and thank God Pastor didn't go in the back to see how I had rigged it up because it was rigged. It was janky. It was one of those like, Lord, please don't let anybody walk underneath this because it's going to fall and hit him in the head at any moment type deal. But it didn't because duct tape. And so I would say we started with a vision, and then we made our decor match our vision, and we did it ourselves on such a minimal budget. It almost blew my mind when I finally figured out how much. I think total we spent $120 on VBS total. That includes the lanyards, that includes the posters that Sister Bradshaw sent to the printer that she had made herself, and I have photos of all of this, and when I tell you it looks epic, if I had time and I would have put it on the projector. I have pictures. I do. I will show you the pictures if you want to see them. It is absolutely, I'll just text them to you, Drew. It is absolutely epic. She did such a good job. My wife is a rock star, y'all. It's amazing. And she actually sits on the VBS committee with Brother Brazil over here. And so they're such intelligent people. And I don't even know why you're sitting in here. You could be teaching this lesson. It is so awesome, man. I like it boggled my mind. I was like, I married that. Go me. You know, it's one of those things. But what'd you say? Yeah, marry up. Exactly. I wanted to marry so high up that when people seen us, they would like, you know, separate the two of us, like think I was her valet or something. And so I accomplished that. My wife's a rock star. But shop smart. Dollar Tree tablecloths make excellent backdrops. Like this right here. You see this? Like I could buy this whole frame, or I could go to the Lowe's down the street, and I can make this out of PVC, and then just stretch this over it, and then I can put Dollar Tree tablecloths on that, and it'll look almost the same, and it's super cheap. Holidays are my favorite time of the year because every day after holidays, they have candy on sale. They have decorations on sale. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays. The day after Halloween, we consider that a holiday because we'll go buy all of our costumes. Seriously, because they're like 75 to 90% off. So we will raid Walmart. We'll raid the Hollywood stores and just pray before we go in and pray when we come out. No, I'm just, you get what I'm saying though? Like, it's amazing what you could source for so cheap that you could pay full price for if you want to on Amazon or wherever, or you can just shop smart and realize, hey, I have this theme coming up and I want to do this. And so I'm going to start planning for next year, and I'm going to go buy my stuff this year when it's super cheap. Buy neutral items that you can repaint. We have some 55-gallon drums at church that like probably have paint that thick on them, where we just re-spray paint them over and over again every time. My wife has them in her Sunday school room right now because we're doing the Acts in Action, and so we're doing the military theme right now, and she has them spray painted with, you know, the sand color, and they look like, you know, Army barrels, and they're in a room. But she decorated her entire Sunday school room the same way, like uber cheap, and her entire back wall is nothing but tablecloths from Dollar Tree that she's hung from a drop ceiling. And then she fashioned them to look like a tent, and she put all of her racks in there. And all of her racks, she put them in containers that look like ammo cans. And then she has them labeled like ammo or whatever, and she has it labeled on the outside, and it legitimately looks like it belongs there. But it's actually hiding all of her supplies. And it's so cool. I'm turning this into a brag on Sister Bradshaw session apparently, but no, it's just so neat to watch somebody that has an analytical mind that is being a good steward with what God has given her and being a good steward with money. Because even if I had the money, I'm not sure I would want to just go drop money on it, because part of the fun for me is figuring out how to make it work and how to decorate. And seriously, I love showing up to like children's ministry engagements where people have invited me in and they're not done decorating yet. I love that because I get to get in there and become a part of that and help and invest my time, invest my talents, invest my vision into that and help So it's pretty cool. I would say if you have a bunch of decorations and a bunch of anything when it comes to children's ministry, is be organized. Label everything. Because if you're going to reuse and repurpose, you need to know where things are at. And if you have everything mixed matched and put in the wrong places, it is so hard to reuse later. And our big ticket items that we spend a bunch of money on, the way that I look at it is if I can buy one thing but use it 15 times, that makes my use of it the first time $1.50. So let's say I spent $150 on something, I'm going to use it 10 times. You know, I just that's the way that I justify making big purchases, and if just for me and in my mind is how many times can I reuse this and how many times can I repurpose this. If you can't find it, more than likely, even though you know you have it, you're probably just going to go out and spend the money on it again, and that's not being a really good steward because you already have it. And so to be a good steward, you would be able to find it, put it where it belongs, go back, go find it, and reuse it. My favorite budget materials are cardboard boxes. We have somebody in our church that owns a box. What is it? Box drop? The mattress stores? Yeah, box drop. So they have tons of cardboard boxes that they just donate for free. And so anytime I need them, I can just go get them. And you would be surprised what you can build with a cardboard box. It is epic. Cardboard box and duct tape and some hot glue, you can make anything. I kid you not. You can make anything. You can make puppets. Sister Glenda has made an entire puppet out of cardboard and hot glue, and she probably still doesn't have fingerprints to prove it because she burnt the mess out of herself while she was making them. But I think I have the photo. You probably have the photo around somewhere. It's cardboard boxes and hot glue, and when I tell you this is epic, she also made a giant Nike. Like, it's taller than she is, which I know isn't very tall, but it's taller than what she is. She's not even in here to defend herself. What'd you say? You can, yeah, he can vouch. Foam insulation, go to Lowe's. You can get foam insulation, PVC pipe, plastic tablecloths. Another really good one is painter's drop cloth, the actual cloth one. You would be surprised. You can make entire tents. You can make parachutes. You can make airplanes out of balsa wood and dowel rods, and you just stretch that fabric over it, make this huge airplane that looks epic, but it didn't cost you hardly anything at all. Pool noodles, zip ties, Velcro, paint, spray paint, glow-in-the-dark paint. Some of my fun ones, I love doing black lights a lot. And so, like, bubble makers. And yes, it's part of decor. It's only a few dollars if you go buy it from Walmart, especially at the end of summer. They're practically giving them away. So we went and we bought a bunch of them. And I don't like buying glow-in-the-dark paint because it's expensive. So I went and got some bubble solution, and I went and got some highlighters, and I soaked my highlighters inside my bubble solution. And then I take my bubble solution, and I could paint it on just like war paint on my body. And as soon as you turn the lights on, you are glowing. And I'm not talking about kind of, sort of. I'm talking if you were to dip your face in this stuff, you would light up a room when you walked in. No joke. It is that bright. And so you could take in, you can paint anything you want to on Dollar Tree posters that you buy. You can paint anything that you want to. Orange works, green works, yellow really works. But all of these colors work, and you can paint them however you want to, and it's uber cheap compared to buying neon paint, and it works. Just experiment with stuff back when you get home and see what works for you, because it's it's amazing. Don't put them in your bubble machines, though, if you're in the main sanctuary. We did that because we wanted glow-in-the-dark bubbles. That's how we found we could paint with them, by the way, because these bubbles were popping on the sanctuary carpet. And now if I take a black light in the main sanctuary, you can see where we have been because it's still in the carpet to this day, and that's been 3 years. So, dear pastor, from the desk of the, one of those things. Yeah, it's great. Ask for donations. You would be surprised how many people in your town, business owners that you know, corporate. You'd be surprised going to McDonald's and saying, "Hey, I got this huge thing coming up. Is there anything that you could donate to us? We're just looking for cardboard boxes. We're looking for really anything. And you can find what you want. Go to your local stores that have wooden pallets that are just sitting outside and ask, hey, I'm doing this great big VBS. Can we take these pallets off your hands? And you'd be surprised how many people are, oh yeah, just take it. I put in their carpet rolls, and I figured I would explain this because not everybody knows what a carpet roll is. It's literally just the inside of a roll of carpet. They're that really thick cardboard tube. Those, they'll give them away for free. Go to Lowe's. They're throwing them in the trash. Ask them, hey, can we have your rolls? Cut them to size so they fit in your truck or whatever. You can make anything out of them. We did stalactites out of them. You can hang them from the ceiling and then just take some of that brown paper and just surround it. Now you have a stalactite, stalagmite, make it look like a cave. And it's super cheap because you got it for free. And so the only thing it cost you was the gas to get there and the time to ask. Fabric scraps. If you have any local sewing facilities or quilting facilities or stuff like this, they throw stuff away all the time. Just going, hey, do you have anything you're getting rid of? Can we take it off your hands, repurpose, and reuse it? Of course, all kinds of paint. You'd be surprised how many people would just be throwing paint away. I've already painted my house. I don't need my paint anymore. Just ask people in your church for donations. That's what we did. That's how I got the projector. It didn't cost me anything. It didn't cost him anything. It was sitting at work. It was free to him. It was free to me. It didn't cost us a dime, but we used it for the glory of God. We used it for our VBS, and when I tell you our VBS was epic, it was epic. Some of my favorite tools in my toolkit are I've already said, the foam insulation board. So with that, I like to use a hot knife. You can make your own hot knife if you want to. You can buy your own hot knife. Making your own hot knife is super simple. It's 2 pieces of wire with a sturdy piece of wire on the inside and hook it up to a 9-volt battery. The wire in between the two gets hot because you've created a short circuit, and you can cut it. And just like that. Paint brushes, you can use acetone. Get you some acetone and a cheap paintbrush, and start brushing acetone really thin on that foam, and it'll start melting it, and it'll make different textures. You can take a heat gun, like a paint heat gun. A lot of people have them sitting around the house, and you can pass it over top of that foam, and it'll melt it in that perfect area. So we'll take foam. That's how we make it look like brick. I don't know if any of you seen the castle that we did for Kingdom Kids? It's literally made out of foam, and they used hot knives, they used acetone, and they used a heat gun on it. And you hit the heat gun, you draw your brick on there, you take your acetone and you do your acetone, and then come back with your heat gun, and it melts it, and it turns it into that texture that looks just like bricks. And then you just paint it. And then once you're done painting it, you come back over it with a different paint, and you just dab it on there, and then clear coat it. And what do you know? You have something that looks just like a castle, and it was uber cheap, super cheap. Cardboard, you can use your heat guns, utility knives, paint brushes, paint rollers, straight edge, hot glue gun, cold glue gun. We built a rocket for the CMC in Union City last year, and we repurposed this rocket. The rocket was I think almost 18 foot tall, and I think it was 7 or 8 foot around in circumference, and it was just foam. And we could not figure out how are we going to get the decorations to stick on this foam. We went and we bought a huge thing of Elmer's glue, and we went and we got some wrapping paper, and we used Elmer's glue, and we took paint rollers, and we rolled the glue on it, and then we laid it down, and we cut it to the size we wanted, and then we bent it to shape, and then we hot glued everything together. And it's huge. I'm talking, this rocket was huge, and it was really cheap. I think it cost us $80 to build the entire thing, and it filled up the majority of our center stage. And so if there is a will, there is a way for you to do it. You could probably think right now of some things that you have at home that you could repurpose into something epic for the kids. Something right now that maybe hasn't been used in a while, and how can I repurpose that to fit my current need? Can I just repaint it? Can I just refurbish it? Can I cut it into pieces and glue it back together a different way and it be something epic? Is there something that I could use this for, maybe in a different area? Can I peel the fabric back off of something that I've already used and reuse it in a different place? But there are so many different ways that you can reuse, repurpose, borrow, and make this look huge. So takeaways, I would say, is if you were to walk into your supply room right now, and you're standing there just looking at your supplies, Ask yourself, what can I build using the materials that I already have on hand? What can I repurpose into something completely different? Who inside of my church right now or inside of my community can donate materials to me? What decorations can I save and reuse for future lessons? I don't care if you spent $5 on that decoration. If you know that you can reuse it again, put it where you know you can find it. Now, I'm not asking you to be a hoarder, because we've all been around those people too. If you're not going to reuse it again, chuck it or donate it to somebody who needs it. One of my favorite things to do is find a church that's doing VBS and go to them and say, hey, what are you doing with your decorations when you're done with those? Can I reuse those decorations? There's a church right now, I found them on Facebook the other day, that is doing an epic VBS. It is so cool. They're doing an illumination station. Everybody's seen it. It's going around, black lights. It's so neat. But the decorations that they had, they were literally, they got on Facebook and said, hey, we don't want these to go to waste. We're donating them to a church. If you can come pick them up, you can have them for free. And when I say that they were amazing, they were so amazing. Like, it was unreal. And a man in their church had built them himself. Once again, he built it. They didn't source it. They built it. But how can I create the biggest impact while spending the least amount of money? And now, I'm not saying that you have to do this, but a fun thing for you to take home from today is I am challenging you, the next time that you have a thing to decorate for, try to do it with the least amount of money possible. And watch as it blows your mind how little money you actually spend on something that turns out to be super epic, and you are the only one. Them kids aren't walking in looking for a price tag on what you're building. They're not flipping over and like, oh, I seen that at Dollar Tree today. Those kids aren't saying that. They're walking in and they're like, this is amazing. We built a Nintendo 2 Switch on the platform at church for practically free, and it was epic. Well, I have the pictures. I have the receipts. I have the pictures. You've seen it. It's epic. And it's, yeah, I know, right? Gen Z thing. Clock it. She's making fun of me. Laugh all you want to, sister. But what is something that you can go home with, or go home to right now and make that will cost you almost nothing? And how epic can you make it on the least amount of a budget? Yeah, there you go. He has it right there. I'll pull it up on my iPad so it's a little larger so that you can see it. And I'm telling you, it's epic. It is. The only thing I wish is that that projector would have been a short throw, so I didn't have to jerry rig it, and that it would have been brighter because of the room that we were in. It looked good in that room, but in the main sanctuary, once we moved it, because we do our VBS different than most people. We did Friday, Saturday, and then we took all the decorations over and we took over the main sanctuary, and we did Super Church on Sunday. And we do that every year. We do those two, and then we take over the main sanctuary and we do Super Church. Yeah, it's so cool, because then when we invite the adults into our space, you would be surprised how many adults we have prayed through to the Holy Ghost on the last day of VBS, because they're coming to a kid service and the Holy Ghost just sneaks up with them and is like, surprise, and it's so cool to see. I want to encourage you here today. We have a few more minutes. Don't compare your classroom to somebody else's, but make it yours. If you can build something once and use it for years, do so, because less can often be more. Good lighting, and this is important, can make inexpensive decorations look amazing. Go to Walmart, buy you those, we always make fun of them, those chicken lights that we call them, where you put the heat lamp in, and it's just the metal bowl, basically. We buy those, and we'll repaint those with a can of spray paint, and then we'll put different color bulbs in there, and we'll position them in different places in the room to make the lighting just so epic. Like when you do the cave theme with the stalactites, put like green, blue, purple, yellow lights shining up from the floor on those stalactites and mites, and it makes it just look epic. You're just like, bro, how much money did you spend on that? It looks so cool. We spent $12 on it because we got donations. We reused it. We repurposed it. Like, we built an entire VBS for free, y'all. If we can do it and it look as epic as it did, you can do the same thing. So children won't remember how much money you spent because they'll never know how much money you spent. But they will remember how the room made them feel. So everything that we decorate, everything that we use for decoration should all accomplish one goal, and that is to support your lesson and to make the environment as immersive as we can humanly possibly make it. Brother Booker was talking earlier, and he was talking about like opening the tuna fish. Y'all remember him saying that? Okay, Sister Bradshaw built a whale, an entire whale, for our last VBS last year because we were talking about Jonah and the whale. She built an entire whale. We had a drop ceiling. She went to Dollar Tree and she got blue drop cloths. She used plates, paper plates, and she drew eyeballs with a Sharpie in the middle of the plate, and she hung them up. She made a tongue out of felt, the red felt, made the tongue, and on the inside, on the floor, she made the tongue. It was felt, and then she also had the tablecloths from Dollar Tree that she just wrapped up, a bunch of them, and so they were like 3D sticking up off the floor. And she took spaghetti. She boiled spaghetti and dumped it all over the floor. She took a can of tuna, and I'm still mad at her for this because I was Jonah, and she put it inside the whale behind a fan. And it was disgusting. She had the fan recirculating the tuna, and the whole church smelled like tuna. I'm telling you, the entire church. It was awful. You walked in, it's like, something's fishy. It was a whale. But what we did was we invited the kids into the whale. So we went and we bought shoe covers. And we put shoe covers on all the kids, and they walked into the whale. And I, Jonah, told the story of being inside the belly of the big fish, not the whale, the big fish. Sorry, don't crucify me on YouTube. The big fish. And we told the story of I should have listened to God, but because I didn't, now here I am. And it stinks, and it's nasty, and it's cold. And it was like the kids talked about it for months. There's a few kids that still talk about it. Thank God you didn't open the tuna. You know, it made that much of a, exactly. Yes, I agree. But it made that much of an impact. And we built the whole whale for like $5. And we did it on such a budget, but it was huge. When I tell you it was huge, I'm talking like it was an entire section like this right here, from there to there, wall to wall. And it was just tablecloths from Dollar Tree that didn't hardly cost us anything. So before you buy a single decoration for your next event, walk through your church garage storage room, your neighbor's garage, your friend's garage, your friend's storage rooms. You may already have something or find something that you already need in those places. And God has always specialized into taking things that we think is ordinary and using ordinary people and ordinary things to accomplish extraordinary things. To you, that's just a tablecloth. But to that kid, it turned into a giant fish. And the story of Jonah and the big fish became tactile, something they could feel on their feet, something they could feel with their hands, something they could smell. And the lighting and everything all combined together turned into an experience that they will never forget for the rest of their life. And it barely cost us a thing. Some of the free resources I'm sure some of you know about, free or discounted. Canva. I don't know if your church is a 501c. I do not know if you know this. You can get Canva for free. All you have to do is apply for it. You show them your thing and you apply for it. And then Billboard Flex. We are currently doing the Outcast for our children's church. And we went to Billboard Flex and we got a billboard-sized backdrop made for like $120. And we are reusing it so much that every use we're getting out of it, it's costing us like $10 for this thing per month to have. And it stretches from basically one side of this platform to the other. This whole thing right here, floor to ceiling, and the entire backdrop. And so there are several resources, several things that you can do that are free or nearly free to you. And I believe if you go home and challenge yourself, how inexpensive, I don't want to say cheap, but how inexpensive can I make this for myself and for my church, and how epic can I make it on the budget that I have. So that's the time we have, and I do have those pictures if you guys want to see them. Thank y'all for coming.